Listen closely. The moon in the sign of Leo will cast a powerful spotlight on your life for the next 48 hours, illuminating the very fabric of your being and forcing you to confront a choice that has been hidden in plain sight. You can no longer hide after weeks of deep inner work of healing secret wounds and strengthening your emotional nest. The universe now turns the spotlight directly on you. The cosmic question is no longer who are you in private when no one is looking, but rather who do you have the courage to be in public under the light of all eyes. The social mask you wear with such care, that persona that was designed to be accepted, loved, and applauded, is about to be tested. The moon, the center of our emotional world and of our most intimate truth, has entered the sign of Leo, the archetype of the stage of the heart, of authentic self-expression and of personal sovereignty. The curtain of your life is opening. The world, your audience, is silent, waiting, and the question that hangs in the air is devastatingly simple. Will you play the character they expect, following the safe script of social acceptance, or will you have the courage to burn the script, abandon the character, and present yourself as you are with all your light, your shadows, your imperfections, and your glory running? The risk of being judged, but with the only chance of being truly seen and loved for who you are. This transit is not a gentle invitation. It is a summons. The energy of the next 48 hours is designed to create situations in your life that will force this choice. It is a trial by fire for your soul. Has the comfort of your mask become more important than the freedom of your heart? In the next few minutes, you will not receive advice to be more confident. You will receive a guide to pass this authenticity test. We will first diagnose the subtle signs that you are hiding behind a mask. Next, we will analyze the pressure of the spotlight and why the universe is demanding your truth now. And finally, we will give you a practical manual so you can act by act let the mask fall. And finally, claim your leading role on the stage of your own life. Before we can take off a mask, we must first have the courage to admit that we are wearing one. Self-deception is the glue that keeps the mask stuck to our face. The energy of the moon in Leo, with its demand for the heart's truth, illuminates the fissures in our performance, revealing the subtle symptoms that we are living a life that is not entirely our own. If you recognize yourself in the following signs, understand that it is not a judgment, but a liberating diagnosis. The first and most universal symptom is a chronic and inexplicable exhaustion. It is not the physical tiredness of a hard day's work, but a soul-deep exhaustion, a heaviness you feel even after a full night's sleep. This is the fatigue of the performance. Maintaining a social mask requires a monumental amount of energy. Every word you measure, every reaction you calculate, every opinion you silence, every emotion you repress, all of it consumes your life force. It's like an actor who never leaves the character who is on stage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The applause you receive for your performance never compensates for the energy spent to maintain it. You feel exhausted because one part of you is constantly at war with the other. And this internal war is the most tiring of all battles. The second symptom, which is born from this exhaustion, is a paralyzing fear of being found out. It is the low-grade anxiety that accompanies you in social situations. The feeling that at any moment, someone more perceptive will see through your facade and see the fraud behind it. This fear makes you hypervigilant. You replay conversations in your mind looking for mistakes in your performance. And above all, you are terrified of true intimacy, because intimacy is the place where masks inevitably fall. You might sabotage promising relationships or keep connections at a superficial level. Not because you don't desire depth, but because depth is the greatest risk to your character. From this fear, the third symptom manifests subtle self-censorship. Pay attention to the way you speak. How many times do you start a sentence with "I think that," even when you're absolutely certain? How many times do you soften your opinion so as not to displease or agree with something that goes against your values just to maintain harmony. This is not the diplomacy of Libra. It is the self-censorship of a soul that has learned that its authentic truth is not safe to be shown. Every time you do this, it is a small betrayal of yourself, a small death of your real self. It is the act of sanding down your own sharp edges to fit into holes that were not made for you. The fourth symptom is painful dissonance. It is the growing and uncomfortable awareness of the abyss that exists between how you feel on the inside and how you act on the outside. It is the smile you force at a party while your soul is screaming with sadness or boredom. It is the appearance of calm and control you project at work while inside you are feeling insecure and overwhelmed. This dissonance is the cause of many anxiety and depression crises. It is your soul sending you a signal of pain, a fire alarm, telling you that the integrity of your being is compromised, that the structure of your identity is at risk of collapse because the foundations are false. And all these symptoms culminate in the final diagnosis, the feeling of being a supporting actor in your own life by living to please the audience, by following a script written by the expectations of your family, your partner, or society. You have abdicated your leading role. You watch your own life happen, often with a sense of strangeness and detachment, as if you were watching a movie about someone else. But the moon in Leo is here to remind you who the star of this show is. It is illuminating the stage and calling you back to the center. The question it asks through all these painful symptoms is simple. Aren't you tired of acting? Isn't it time to start living? If you recognized yourself in the symptoms of the mask, the logical and inevitable question is why now? Why is this exhaustion? This feeling of fraud reaching such an unbearable peak at this exact moment? The answer lies in the pressure of the cosmic spotlight that has just been turned on over your soul. The moon, the celestial body that governs our emotional world, our deepest needs, and our most intimate truth, has entered the sign of Leo. Leo is the archetype of the stage, of the heart, of royalty, and of sovereign and authentic self-expression. When the moon is in Leo, our primary emotional need, the need that becomes stronger than hunger or thirst, is to be seen, recognized, and crucially loved and applauded for who we truly are. And here is the source of the unbearable pressure. If you are wearing a mask, if your public persona is different from your inner truth, you create a direct and violent conflict. On one side, you have the overwhelming need of your soul to be seen in its totality, moon in Leo. On the other, you have the paralyzing fear of your ego, of being judged if that totality is revealed. It is a war between your truth and your persona. The spotlight is on, and it is mercilessly illuminating this exact contradiction within you. The discomfort you feel is your soul trying to tear off the mask that your ego insists on wearing. The universe doesn't just illuminate this internal war. It creates scenarios in the real world to force you to choose a side. The energy of the next 48 hours is designed to present you with authenticity tests. They may be small or large, but they will all have the same underlying silent and powerful question. Will you choose the safety of the mask or the courage of the heart? These tests can manifest in various forms. It could be a test of opportunity. Suddenly, a chance for you to stand out arises. An invitation to speak in public, to lead a new project, to share your creative work or an idea of yours. The mask, moved by the fear of not being perfect enough, will whisper in your ear, "No, you are not ready." They will judge you. It's better to stay quiet. The heart, energized by the moon in Leo, will pulse with a different message. Yes, this is my chance to shine, to show who I am. Which voice will you listen to? It could be a test of opinion. In a conversation with friends, family, or colleagues, a topic will arise about which you have a strong, genuine, and authentic opinion, but one that is unpopular in the group. The mask, trained to seek harmony and acceptance at all costs, will plead, stay quiet, agree, smile, don't make waves. The heart which longs to express itself will demand speak your truth with respect, but with firmness even if your voice trembles. Which path will you follow? Or it could be a test of connection. Someone might offer you a glimpse of real intimacy, asking a personal and deep question, inviting you to let your guard down. The mask, terrified of being found out in its imperfections, will give a vague, superficial answer or a joke to deflect the subject. The heart which longs for a true connection will wish to share its truth. Will you choose the protection of superficiality or the risk of real connection? And it is in this series of small and large choices, which will happen in the coming hours, that the great division is revealed. Most people, conditioned by a lifetime of seeking approval and fearing judgment, will feel the pressure of the spotlight and out of pure fear will press the mask even tighter against their face. They will refuse the opportunity, silence their opinion, deflect intimacy, and in doing so, they will feel even more exhausted, even more fraudulent, and will have lost the chance to be truly seen and celebrated for who they are. The test in its deepest essence is this: is the familiar comfort of your mask more important than the terrifying freedom of your soul? Is the security of being accepted for a character you created more valuable than the chance of being loved for the real, imperfect, and magnificent being that you are? This is not just a 48-hour astrological transit. It is a turning point, an invitation to stop auditioning for supporting roles and to finally claim your leading role. The light is on you. The question is whether you will have the courage not to look away, and the manual for finding that courage is our next step. The test has been presented. The pressure of the spotlight is real. The choice between the mask and the heart needs to be made. But how in practice do you remove a mask that we have worn for so long that it has almost fused to our skin? It is not an act of violence of forcefully ripping it off, which would only create more trauma. It is a conscious process, an unmasking protocol in 3 phases that honors both the fear that created the mask and the courage that now dissolves it. What follows is your manual for this act of liberation. Phase 1, the recognition of the mask. We cannot remove an enemy that we have not named. The first and most crucial step is that of self-investigation. It is the act of turning on a light in the theater of your psyche and to identify with brutal honesty what is the main character you have been playing for the world, often so automatically that you yourself have forgotten it is a performance. Take your notebook. This is your rehearsal room, your dressing room. At the top of a blank page, write identifying my main mask. Now, take a moment to reflect and answer the first question. What is the main character I play to be accepted, loved, and to feel safe in the world? Be specific. Give this persona a name. Is it the nice guy or the good girl who never says no and is always smiling even when exhausted on the inside? Is it the intellectual who uses difficult words and complex references as armor to hide the insecurity of not feeling smart enough? Is it the strong one who never admits weakness, never asks for help, and carries the weight of the world on their shoulders in silence? Is it the victim who attracts care and attention through a narrative of helplessness? Is it the comedian who uses humor as a shield to avoid any kind of real intimacy? Give this mask a clear name. Look at it. Acknowledge it without judgment. Now the most important question, the one that gets to the heart of the matter. Beneath every mask, there is a primordial fear. Ask yourself, what am I terrified will happen if I take this mask off? The answer usually is one of the most fundamental fears of the human experience. The fear of rejection, of abandonment, of being judged as inadequate, of being considered too much or not enough, and ultimately the fear of not being loved. Write that fear down. Look at it. Bring it out of the shadows. Recognizing the fear is what gives us power over it. This act of recognition is 50% of the battle. By naming the mask and the fear that feeds it, you cease to be an unconscious actor on autopilot and become a conscious director with the power to choose whether or not to continue with this performance. Phase 2, the micro act of authenticity. Theory and recognition are safe and happen in the privacy of your notebook. The real change, the one that reprograms our brain, happens in the real world. But fear paralyzes us if the action is too big. Therefore, the antidote to the grand paralysis of performance is the micro-action. The goal of this phase is to prove to your nervous system in a very small and safe dose that being yourself is not fatal. Your task for the next 24 hours is to perform one single small low-risk act of authenticity. The key is that the risk of rejection or the negative consequences is minimal so that you can begin to build your courage muscle gradually. Think about the mask you identified and choose a micro-act that gently challenges it. If your mask is that of the nice guy, your micro-act could be to say a gentle and unapologetic no to a small request. Can you do me a favor? I'd love to, but I can't today. If your mask is that of the intellectual, your micro-act could be to admit in a conversation, I don't know about that. Can you explain it to me? If your mask is that of the comedian, your micro-act could be to allow a moment of silence in a conversation, instead of immediately filling it with a joke. It could be wearing that piece of clothing you love, but think is too flashy to go to the supermarket. It could be sharing a genuine opinion about a movie that goes against the majority's opinion. It could be posting a photo of yourself without a filter, or sharing a small piece of your creative work. The purpose of this act is not to change the world, but to change your internal chemistry by performing the act and surviving it, and you will. You send a new and powerful message to your brain and your nervous system. I was authentic and the world didn't end. I was real and I am safe. Every micro-act of authenticity weakens the tyranny of the mask and strengthens the sovereignty of your true self. Phase 3, the declaration of the real self. After the act of courage in the real world, however small it was, we need to anchor the new identity. We need a final act that declares to ourselves and to the universe the new truth we are choosing to embody. This is the final phase of the protocol. Go back to the mirror. Look into your own eyes. The mask may still be there like a habit, but now you see it for what it is. A survival strategy that no longer serves you. And with all the conviction and heart energy that the moon in Leo offers you, declare out loud the truth about yourself that your mask has always tried to hide. Choose your declaration. If your mask is the strong one, your declaration could be my vulnerability is my strength. If your mask is the nice guy, your declaration could be, I have the right to my own needs. If your mask is the intellectual, your declaration could be, I am worthy of love even without knowing everything. Choose your declaration. Repeat it 3 times. Feel the vibration of the words in your chest. This is your new script. It is you as the director and leading actor of your life declaring the beginning of a new act, the act of truth. And so the protocol is complete. The recognition, the micro act of courage, the sovereign declaration. Each phase was a conscious step, out of the shadow of the performance and toward the light of your own and undeniable truth. The mask, which for so long seemed to be a part fused to your face. A second skin necessary for survival now lies at your feet. The act is over. The curtain has fallen on the character you used to play. What is left on the stage, only you in your totality, in your imperfection, in your glory. The silence you may feel now is not the silence of a disappointed audience. It is the respectful silence of the universe, acknowledging the deepest act of courage a human being can perform. That of choosing to be real in a world that constantly pressures us to be copies. The exhaustion of the performance begins to dissipate, and in its place, a new and calm energy arises. The energy of simply being. To stand under the spotlight without the protection of the mask is at first terrifying. The vulnerability you feel is immense. Every part of you that was once judged as inadequate, strange, or too much is now exposed. The old fear of judgment, the old programming of seeking approval may scream in your ears. The temptation to pick the mask up from the floor and put it back on, to return to the safety of the familiar prison may be strong, but breathe into this discomfort. Allow it to be there, because beneath the fear, a new feeling is being born, one that is much more powerful: freedom. The freedom of no longer needing to calculate every word, the freedom of no longer needing to monitor every reaction, the freedom of no longer spending your precious life force sustaining a lie. And in this freedom resides a power that your mask could never give you. The power of authenticity is the most magnetic force there is. People do not truly connect with perfection. They connect with truth. By showing your truth, however imperfect it may be, you become a beacon of permission for others to show theirs. This is not a graduation, but a beginning. The choice to live without the mask is a daily practice, a decision to be made in each moment. If this journey to the stage of your truth has resonated with you, if you have taken the first step to let your mask fall, anchor this moment of power, like this video. Share it with someone who needs the courage to be seen, and declare the end of your performance, the beginning of your real life, in the comments. Now, it's your turn. Share with us, what's your zodiac sign and how are you experiencing the pressure of the spotlight this week? Are you feeling a strong need to be seen, recognized, and loved for who you truly are? Are you finding it challenging to be authentic in your daily life? Share your thoughts and experiences with us in the comments below. We would love to hear from you.